Someone asked me recently if guerrilla marketing and growth hacking were different terms for the same thing. Well, I'll start by saying that they are very similar, but also very different. In this video, I will describe guerrilla marketing and growth hacking and how they can both be used to improve your marketing efforts. If you like the video, you can share it, like it on YouTube, and also follow the channel. Okay, so I'm going to start by defining guerrilla marketing. Now, I was first introduced to the term very early in my career after reading an article written by J. Conrad Levinson. In preparing for this video, I learned that he coined the term in 1984 with his book Guerrilla Marketing. As you can imagine, the name draws a parallel with guerrilla warfare, where smaller, non-traditional militia use tactics like ambushes, raids, and other unconventional means of striking larger, more established armies. So the idea behind guerrilla marketing is to use unconventional tactics to promote your business on a shoestring budget. Sometimes these methods can leverage traditional marketing tactics, but they really rely more on creative events and communications to spread your message. Often, this can be something shocking or different, enough shock value as to create a buzz. So I guess we could easily classify viral marketing, most known as a social media tactic, as a type of guerrilla marketing. Here's an example of a guerrilla tactic used by Marvel to promote a Deadpool movie. An unconventional billboard was placed in Los Angeles and was subsequently shared across the internet and most major media. They also placed a Deadpool Tinder ad. So again, they used a medium intended for a narrow audience, but expanded their reach as people began sharing it. Here's another example where T-Mobile created a flash mob in Liverpool. Perhaps this was an attempt to promote a fun brand and the message of community and sharing. A video of the event went viral on social media, and the company then created television ads based on the event. Years ago, I promoted a new boating brand at a national marine trade show. We couldn't afford big sponsorships, so I instead printed up about 1,000 t-shirts with a theme following the evolution of maritime man. We held a giveaway in the booth and handed out a free t-shirt with each entry. We only asked that they wear the shirt that day. I wasn't really sure if people would actually do this, but I thought worst case scenario, people would be walking around with a t-shirt and can tell others where they got it. Anyway, it turned out that people did want to wear the shirts, and we had walking billboards throughout the show for really a very low investment. All right. Now that we covered guerrilla marketing, let's turn to growth hacking. The term growth hacking was coined by Sean Ellis in 2010 in a blog where he defined a growth hacker as a person whose true north is growth. Over time, it's been associated with young technology products and online marketing. The concept focuses on funnel metrics and A/B testing to scale ideas that work and then abandon the ones that don't. So, like guerrilla marketing, the idea is to spend minimal resources, but in this case, the goal is to scale as quickly as possible. Now, from a product perspective, growth hacking means finding and iterating a product that people want and can then scale quickly. During this process, customer feedback is essential. You also want to clearly identify your ICP and target narrowly. I love the Airbnb example where two roommates needed help paying rent, so they rented out air mattresses in the living room. From there, they defined a business need and market, launched at South by Southwest, refining the product until they could scale it. From a marketing perspective, growth hacking relies on optimizing what is called the pirate funnel. The stages include awareness, acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, and referral. Now, the definitions can be slightly different for each stage, and sometimes the order changes slightly based on the business. But the idea is to define the buyer journey and optimize each stage. I'll start by saying that awareness is difficult to measure, especially for a startup. The question here is, how many people are you reaching? And you probably know the size of your audience, but there is really no practical way to measure how many people are actually aware of you. So in many cases, it's just not a very worthwhile metric. Next, we have acquisition. Here you could be asking, out of your total addressable market, how many people visited the website? Or you could define acquisition as a lead. Then we have activation. This is typically defined as an action, like an app download, a sign up, or a web form completed. After activation is retention. This can be defined as customer usage. If they downloaded an app, are they using it? If they are a paid customer or a subscriber, are they continuing past that first month? After retention is revenue. For some businesses, this can actually come before retention. But anyway, here you're asking questions like, how many users became paying customers? How much revenue was booked? And then the last stage here is referral. This is where the growth really happens. If you can get to a point where your customers are marketing the product for you, you will grow exponentially. Now, in a growth hacking process, you are measuring each step and looking for areas of improvement. At a very basic level, you can measure the percentage of prospects that move to each step from the previous one. Look for areas that do not convert well and focus on improving those. A classic example of growth hacking is Dropbox. As a small startup, they had very little money for advertising, so instead they focused on referral business. They created a program where a new referral customer provided you with 250 megabytes of extra storage. New signups, as a result, new signups soared 60% overnight, and the company improved this by integrating the referral program into the customer onboarding process. And this made it much easier for a user to invite their contacts on Google and Facebook. The other cool thing here is that the referral program also improved retention as users were rewarded with more storage space than they would receive from other suppliers or providers. Here's another example, a fairly simple one actually. In the early days of Uber, people just weren't used to jumping into a stranger's car for a ride. So the company focused on just a few cities and provided new users with $20 of ride credit. They relied almost completely on word-of-mouth advertising. They also leveraged their legal battles at the time for free publicity to gain advocacy from their customers, which actually I would argue is more of a guerrilla marketing tactic. So growth hacking and guerrilla marketing both use creativity to grow an audience, but the main point of difference is that growth hacking is ultimately focused on growing revenue. And really, that's it. But these do not have to be exclusive. As we saw from Uber, as we consider a total growth strategy, it's important to consider both growth hacking and guerrilla marketing. But for the most part, these are quick growth strategies. You should also be considering a plan for long-term sustainable growth, and that includes consistent messaging and brand investments. So I hope this helps clarify guerrilla marketing and growth hacking. If you've made it all the way to the end of this video, please click the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also find more information at Marketing Muscle or marketing-muscle.com.